Viewers, you are welcome to the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. I am your host, Yaira Awuno. We're coming to you live from the studios of Clock TV, and you can also catch us on GoTV channel 184. Don't forget, as always, we are streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube, so while you're on your commute to work, you can join in the conversation online. Call a friend, text a friend, and of course, you can send also your suggestions and your comments to our WhatsApp number that will be displayed on your screen. Here on the Cocoa Digest Morning Show, we bring to you the most informative, educative, and entertaining segments like business, lifestyle, entertainment, motivational quotes, in-depth discussions to give you a well-rounded experience and set the tone for your day. Up next is the motivational quote of the day, and I hope it inspires you. It is time for our motivational quote, and as usual, I do this with my co-hosts here in the studio with me, in the persons of Miss Miriam Abnadidi and Mr. Clement Yabankwe. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
By grace, we are fine.
It's another week, and yes, we are almost ending the month of October. What are our anticipations for the month of November? Sorry.
October, actually.
No, for November coming.
Okay. I'm just, we are just grateful, first of all, that God has brought us this far. And we just have 2 months to end the year 2024. It has been a very tough year for, most of us. A roller coaster, let me put it that way. And I'm hoping that, November brings in some kind of blessings and more money.
Yes.
More money.
Yes, more money.
So we pray for the best, that may what the Lord has said come to pass.
Amen.
That is all what we expect.
Amen. So let's take our motivational quote for today, and Miriam will be leading us in these prayers.
So today's motivational quote says, "Love cannot remain by itself. It has no meaning. Love has to be put into action. And that action is service." And this is by Mother Teresa. And what this quote is basically telling us, is about love. We always say we love each other. I love you. I know you told your boyfriend you love him this morning. Yeah, Clement, you also did the same.
Oh, yes.
But what this quote is, trying to communicate to all of us is that love is a doing word. Love is a verb. It's not a noun. You need to act it. Even the Bible says love is a deliberate act. So it is an action of loving, another even more than yourself. And so it is just trying to tell us that we need to demonstrate our love in so many ways by calling to check up on the person. If you realize, the person is not having some kind of cash, you can send the person more. I'm most concerned about money, because that is one of the things that puts smiles on people's faces. I won't lie to you. So when you demonstrate that kind of love, it will go a long way to, keep a stamp on the person's heart for you. It shouldn't just be about the feeling, but we need to act it out. So that is what Mother Teresa is telling us this morning.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Yes, Clement.
So that's so amazing. And as she said, love is a doing word. It's an action word, of course, and you need to put into action. I will take it from 2 points. Let me first take it from the biblical point of view. The Bible said in the book of John 3:16, it said, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son." So the doing word here is he gave out what he have. And after giving out, that wasn't just the end, but what he gave out also came to serve mankind. So if you see the quote, he said that love is supposed to be in service, right? Yeah, so Jesus Christ came to serve mankind by dying for us. So love is all about giving out yourself to humanity, giving out yourself. Just put who you are aside and put yourself in someone's shoe and dine with the person in the state he found himself.
Yeah.
You talk about the money. Yes, money is very good, but aside money, let someone smile. That is out of love. Let me quote Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams, who once said that the reason why we have a state or the economy is behaving the way it's behaving is not because there is a corruptible system, there is corruption, but because of love, lack of love for the country. So it's because as we citizens of Ghana, we lack love for our country. That's why we tend to do whatever we do. If we love your sister like as I do to Miriam, there's no way I will harm Miriam. There's no way I will do something bad to Miriam. As I love Yara, there's no way I would just go beside Yara and talk evil about Yara. But because I don't love Yara from my heart, I will always say something bad. It happens in companies, it happens in organizations, it happens in so many places. People are trying to bring their superiors down because of what they claim to have. But if you love that very person as you love your sister, as you love your mother, there is no way on earth that you go behind him, talk ill about the person of which you know that what you are doing is wrong. It's lack of love. It's not anything. That's what I would say.
Wow, thank you so much.
Adding up to what Clement just said, we know a candle, loses nothing by lighting another. And so we should just have that in mind and let us, all of us, rise together up there. It is so big. As you keep saying, the sky is so big to contain all of us, right?
Yes, all the stars.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your submissions. I would like to add that the most basic tenet for humanity is love. And in that love brings community, the kindness, all the sacrifice. Everything that we see is mostly based on love. Every human soul is built to be able to love. It reacts the best to love. Every human soul is touched by love, regardless of how evil mankind is. So sometimes even you realize that in big events, whether it be in life or in death, we come together to support one another because of love. When our sister or mother has a child, you see that the family comes together. People come and stay around for a few months to help her. When somebody is bereaved or even heartbroken, we get our friends coming, friends and loved ones coming to sit with us in that grief, to support you. And that is all based on love. And in that, there's also the sacrifice of your time, your energy. You could have been doing something you deem more important, but because of the love you have for your friend, your mother, your brother, anybody else out there, you are able to make that sacrifice of time, make that sacrifice of your energy, even your words of affirmation to that person, even your money, as Miriam would also say, in lending them something. One of the things I love so much these days is the feel-good videos that we see. I saw this video where someone had found a parrot that was injured and he nursed it back to health. When he nursed it and, he set it free, the parrot came back with so many other, probably his family members, and they came to say thank you or something. And it was such a beautiful video because the parrot had so many colors and all these parrots all around in his backyard. It was such a beautiful thing. So in conclusion, all I would like to say is as you go about your day, remember that as God loved us, even throughout all the religions, let us learn to love one another, be it in acts of service, in our words of affirmation, all the 5 love languages that we have. Express love to somebody today as you go through your day. Do have an amazing day. Next is the online and newspaper review with my co-host here, and we will be right back.
Clog TV. Beyond the policy.
You're welcome back to the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. If you're just tuning in, this is the Cocoa Digest Morning Show, and we're about to have our online news review. Don't forget to send in your comments to our WhatsApp number displayed on your screen or onto our live stream on Facebook and on YouTube. So yes, two of my co-hosts as usual are here with me, and we're going to do our online review. But before that, so Miriam, what should we expect on your segment today?
Right. So today we are discussing a chronic lung disease, which is asthma, which is affecting a lot of young people in the world, with I think a high number in Ghana. And so we feel there is a need for us to have that discussion. But we also want to target people that are already having it and looking at ways to encourage them to practice safe exercises.
Okay.
So basically that is what we'll be talking about today.
So, Clemens, what should we expect on your segment as well?
Yeah, so Yara, I'll be bringing the latest business news that needs to deal with IMF.
Okay.
They said on the 2nd of December, there's going to be the third review for the third release of the fund of the IMF deal. And also, Finance Minister also made a comment regarding the recent power outage. And it's as a result of one of the institutions who have shut down operations. So these are many more other things we'll be discussing today on the business update segment.
Okay. And then on the main segment, we'll be discussing some agricultural policies and some of the ways to support our farmers in the country in light of the upcoming Farmers' Day as well. So stay tuned, stay glued to Cocoa Digest Morning Show. These are the segments each segment is bringing to us. So quickly, let's get into our online news review. So what is trending this week?
Daira, we woke up to a very sad news this morning, and we cannot bypass it. We have to talk about it because a great tree has fallen in Ghana in the political, phase. So our very own Ikria Donko, who happens to be the founder of the Ghana Freedom Party, and a political aspirant who was part of the politicians or presidential candidates that were going to be voted for, has passed on this morning, sadly. And that has, raised a lot of concerns among Ghanaians. Some people are saying, attributing her death to, some political gimmicks. And I'm even surprised that why would people even, affiliate her death to such a thing? Because it's a sad thing. She's just like all of us. We can all die at any time. So should we always read meanings into people's death? Like, so because it's getting to an election and someone dies, we attribute the person's death to juju or
as
sacrifice.
Africans and Ghanaians specifically, we are very superstitious, and things like elections are quite, pivotal for the nation. So it is very on brand for us to think, or for people to think or attribute these things to something spiritual, because so at the end of the election, somebody has to come out the victor or a winner. And sometimes there needs to be sacrifices made.
Are you also saying this?
No. I'm not justifying it. I'm saying that it is very, very, what's the word? Very, very common to see people talking about this in that light, because we think that to gain something, you must give something, and we sometimes even something very valuable. So maybe some sort of human sacrifice. Because when accidents keep happening towards election time or even Christmas and things like that, they are attributed to some sort of spiritual backing and things. So
yes, that's very true. But notwithstanding, the honorable, let me use honorable, per my point of view, is not related to any sacrifice or any sort. We are yet to know the cause of her death. That is what we should just get to know from the various institutions, what happened to her, because it's very sad. And there's a lot of concern raised over this few hours of her death. The first question is the presidential numbering going to change? Because there's been a lot of concern from other political parties that they want to change the number of the NDC presidential candidates on the ballot, and Ekuadonko happens to be between the number 1 to number 8. So people are asking the question that after the passing away of Ekuadonko, is the numbering on the presidential ballot paper going to change? That's the first question, and I believe Electoral Commission will come out to answer. But notwithstanding, since there is a notice of poll outside, that is one concern people are also raising, that since there is already a notice of poll outside, would there still be a change? And that we hope to see. And there are another issue surrounding elections, since with the issue of our mother Ekuadonko happens to be the fact that just last Sunday, Electoral Commission is initially they contracted Yasako Printing, that's Yasako company, to print the presidential ballot papers and that of the parliamentary. But last Sunday, they released a notice that the contract has been taken from Yasako Printing to, I think, Bad Printing Company. They are now in charge of the printing of this very materials that we are supposed to use. So these are many questions. I try to find out what Electoral Commission will do around this, but there are laws governing electoral processes. So we wouldn't say much into whether the presidential numbering will change or it won't change. We can't say more into it. So we are just hoping for what Electoral Commission will say moving forward.
Well, the little I also know is that when a presidential candidate, passes on few weeks or months to an election, his running mate or her running mate will take place and also get another running mate for the, how do I put it, the replaced presidential candidates. So that is what people are also asking, if they are going to do that. But people will be wondering who Ekuadonko was. Let me read something small. So she originally from Ifija Kwabre in the Ashanti region, worked as a farmer and a trader before entering into politics. In 2012, she founded the GFP to support the rights of the poor and marginalized. She was also determined to make change. Despite numerous challenges, Ekuadonko remained committed to her political goals and has run multiple presidential elections and has won none. Her platform includes support for farmers, women, and the youth. She plans to provide women with accessible loans and assist women jailed due to loan debt by giving them a 3-year repayment period. And so this is the kind of person we've lost. I'm personally sad because I was, rooting for her. So because of that, I decided to wear a black shoe to mourn her.
Yeah, showing your political affiliations. So we are apolitical, young lady. Let's take a few comments here. So, Barrister K-Rich says, I love love. Today's quote is exceptional. You guys are looking flamboyant as always. Thank you. Then we have Obiba Wilson. Hey, this man says, good morning, my Yaira and your fine co-host. Please, I don't want trouble with Miri. Then we have HM Joe says, oh, such a mighty tree cannot fall at this moment. I do not want to think of the cause of death. I do not want to think the cause of death is otherwise in the political space. Well, I'm sure we will get an autopsy report sooner or later. But I think Ekuadonko was she was in her 70s, right? Yeah. And in Africa here, we tend to have our leaders very old, very aged, between the 60s and 70s, some even getting to 80, if not more. And our constitution says, or the labor laws say that at least retirement should be by 60. So it begs the question, why then do we have people, presidential candidates or people leading us at such ripe ages where they should be resting? I think because Africans, we attribute respect to age and wisdom and things, but I think somehow we need to start checking it and bringing the age down, because I think some of the countries, almost every few weeks, their president is out of the country seeking medical support and things like that. To what end though? Because if Ekuadonko was our president now, and then we've just lost her, and maybe let's just say it's just age, natural factors, age, because of her age. She's our president. Who then leads? Who then takes up the reins? these are things that we need to consider as a state.
Because we even lost, a certain precedent.
Yes, and the vice took over.
So,
and notwithstanding, when you go to the laws, I think it's age 40, you can be a president.
From
Yes, from 40 years. So that one, it's not per the laws of Ghana. It's per the interest of whoever wants to run. Because currently we have young people like Kwame Bediakon. He is very young and he's running, but because of who the people want, that's whom they vote for. When you go to Nigeria, we had a young man who was running, but they decided to give it to the old person.
So it's
our perception.
The citizen, we attribute age with wisdom, and sometimes it may not always be the case. So we tend to have 80-year-olds leading us when they are sitting in meetings, and most of the time they are tired and asleep.
Okay, so on that note, let me give you one trending story. Because another trending story happens to be Infante Pem beats Presec Legon in nail-biting tiebreaker to secure finals slot.
Glory be to God.
Hey. So finally Presec is down.
Oh, seriously?
Infante Pem from Cape Coast. Infante Pem Warriors. Those at this other moment to me are fighting. I know one of our main sound man is not this Adam. I know, but to me, Infante Pem a bit.
You feel his pain.
Yes,
you feel his pain.
I love the unity and camaraderie that the National Science and Maths Quiz brings. Everybody affiliated to their school. So even when your school does not make, I think my school made it this time for the first time in a number of years. It's true.
Which school?
I was homeschooled, sorry. The comments and people, so you see people wearing their old school uniforms, and it just brings some sort of unity in that small time of that period of time. So I know that a lot of the boys whose hearts have been broken by gay girls, they are always just happy when gay is not able to make it. Like Presec that hasn't been. Look at how she said glory be to God. There's a story there.
Seriously, because I don't understand why a particular school win more than 5.
But it's because they are up there. You see, those watching you happens to be Presec students, when they find it, they might beat you because they'll say you are against them.
So we shouldn't. I don't understand. But
and I love the fact that the Presec old students are very, very invested in their school, and they do a lot to support. If other schools take up, because you find a Presec old boy, he's probably in his 60s, and he's very, very much committed to his school, all the contributions, all the things that they do. So aside government doing what they need to do for the school, the old boys also help out, and these are probably factors contributing to Presec's. And
that's very true. And notwithstanding, I think currently most old boys are doing same. Most old students are doing same. Recently, you've been seeing Accra doing mightily for their school. Addis Ababa doing mighty for their school. I know the sound man is telling me they did a great job for their school.
Yes, a lot. School. You've not mentioned your school.
The icons of excellence, Evergreen Shots. We are doing great for them. What is the name
of the school, Clement?
Yeah, but so there is Shama Senior High School.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Shama Senior High School. So there's another trending story. But what about yours? Your school?
Okay, so we are somewhere up there.
Somewhere.
St. Francis Girls Senior High School.
Okay. I think my school too, I saw a few posts on Facebook. The old students are also helping the school out every now and then. So yes, but I was homeschooled, so.
Clement, before you come to your trending story, we cannot skip this trending news because it is, a great blow for the country, and we are all jubilating along. Our very own Minister for Foreign Affairs, Shirley Ayoko Botchwey, has been, elected as the Secretary General for Commonwealth. And this has, brought some kind of joy to a lot of people, looking at the weight it carries to be a Secretary General to, a voluntary association of about, I think, 56 independent, and equal sovereign states. It is not a joke, and we are so, happy for our minister, because, as I said earlier, it has more than 56 independent states, and we being part of the executive board will, bring a lot of benefits to the country. I saw people commenting on that post, how is this position is going to, benefit us as citizens of Ghana? And I'm like, really? really, even President Nana Akufo-Addo, he being a president, his family members are benefiting.
Actually.
Everyone close to him are benefiting.
So, as he being president, Ghanaians are benefiting.
We are all benefiting.
Exactly.
That's what I'm trying to say. And so, if our name, Ghana, is being sent out there,
it's a good news. On that note, let me also bring out this. Our own Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Alban Smana Kingsford Babin, the Speaker of Ghana's Parliament, has been re-elected for the second term as chair of the Conference of Speakers and President of African Legislatures. So he has been re-elected for the second time. The election took place, that was on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and
so with regards to the happenings in Parliament, I know you were the one following.
Yes, Yaira, this morning I saw a notice, and I'm yet to dig deep, if really. And it says that Babin rejects Supreme Court's right on vacancy seat ruling, returns document. And I will give viewers update on this very story, because when I saw this, I was like, really? Then something is about to unfold in the Parliament House moving forward. Yes. My last story happens to be US announces new visa restriction for policy for people undermining democracy in Ghana. Yes. So that one to bring details of the story later.
I think I have that with my daily graphic.
Okay, so if you can.
Okay, so the United States government has announced a visa restriction policy targeted at individuals undermining democracy in Ghana ahead of the December 7, 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. Now, the U.S., in a statement issued on Monday, October 28, 2024, emphasized the U.S. government's commitment to supporting democratic processes in Ghana. The policy, according to the statement, aims to safeguard Ghana's democratic institutions and ensure a peaceful, transparent, and credible electoral process. It stated that the restrictions will apply to individuals believed to be responsible for or complicit in undermining democracy in Ghana, including those who manipulate or rig the electoral process, use violence to intimidate or coerce people, or engage in other activities designed to improperly influence the conduct and outcome of an election. So basically, that is what we have in the news this morning.
So how would that even work? Because if a specific political party rigs the elections, how would the people be identified and then be given these restrictions? Or they would, because it's very easy to just be caught in the mix. So how then, I think I would like to know how this would be implemented so that the innocent ones who went to vote peacefully and, follow the correct electoral process, they would not be caught in the mix as victims.
So I think it will be done in line with their police, because the police always give us reports on happenings, being it violent situations or not. And we hope to see the details of this very activity.
Our very own protesters will also be saying, speak to us directly, don't speak to us indirectly. And so it is a warning to all of us that we have to comport ourselves as the elections approach, because anytime I speak about protesters,
I was even going to ask another question. That if after the elections, an opposition, one party comes to accuse the other that they rigged the elections, would they now do investigations, or do just take swift action, taking their word for it or something?
It's a very good question, because it has happened before. I think the previous election, the incumbent government won, and then the opposition said they rigged the election, the back and forth. So it is something that we should anticipate as citizens in this country, because it is likely to happen. As to how to identify the culprits, is
that's
what
where
we
the
are also
problem
talking about.
So I think let's hope to see the rest of the details of such a story.
Okay. So to the online news, this story. So La General Hospital project halted due to alleged lack of funds. The government's commitment to completing and opening at least the outpatient department of the La General Hospital by October this year is in jeopardy. Now, the work on the hospital project has come to a standstill, and the reconstruction of the La General Hospital has been ongoing since 2020, when President Akufo-Addo initiated the project following the demolition of the old facility. Although construction resumed this year with a deadline set for October to provide OPD services to the residents of La, it appears that this goal will not be met due to workers abandoning the site over financial disputes. During our visit on the afternoon of October 28, the project site resembled a deserted area, and while the seven-story staff accommodation unit is nearly finished, the main hospital structure remains on the ground floor level. Reports indicate that workers have not been on site for about a week, leading to concerns about the project's progress. Chris Annan, a former administrator at the La General Polyclinic prior to its demolition, expressed disappointment regarding the situation. So with this, how do we demolish a hospital? Saying that we want to, rebuild, and less than halfway through the project, no funds.
So Clement.
Mimi.
Okay, so what I read about this project was that it was supposed to be taken over by a company in China, I think somewhere 2020. And due to our very own COVID-19, it disrupted the negotiations that was going on between Ghana's government and then the people in China. And that the people in China ended up pulling out of the project because they couldn't support with the funding of the project anymore. And that was when government decided to take it up on itself to reconstruct it. So that is the little bit I know about the question you were asking.
Okay, so yesterday, as late in the evening, Ministry of Health released a statement disputing the claims that the project is halted. So let me just read. For immediate release from the Public Relations Department of Ministry of Health, they said the Ministry of Health wishes to address recent reports, specifically from one of the media houses, regarding the construction of the La General Hospital. It has been reported that the project has been halted, causing undue concern among the residents and the public at large. The ministry would like to rectify the inaccuracy presented in this report. So they are saying that the project is not halted.
And that they are working.
And that they are working on it. And let me just read the last paragraph. Then we pick it from a different angle. The last paragraph says that the Ministry of Health, in collaboration with all relevant stakeholders, will continue to closely monitor and facilitate the progress of the La General Hospital to ensure its timely completion. That is where my emphasis is to ensure its timely completion. We respectfully request the media to consult our office for accurate information before disseminating reports that may cause unnecessary alarm within the public. The ministry wishes to confirm unequivocal. So they want to confirm that the La General Hospital project has not been halted, signed by the Public Relations Officer. Mimi, so I think one of the media houses did their own story on this yesterday when they visited the site. And speaking to some of the residents, they revealed that workers are not on site for about a week now. And they are wondering why such is happening. So per their own research, they got to understand that, okay, it's because the funds has not been released to them. And also in this statement, Ministry of Health says that the contractor has submitted a statement for the payment of the funds to their account. So equally, they are also working on such thing. So they believe that it is not about halting, or it's not about the project not being completed, but it's about lack of fund. That is from one of the media houses. But let me come to the speaking to this press release from Ministry of Health. With the last statement, they said that they are going to ensure that the completion of this project happens on time.
Yeah.
And the time we are talking about is that they told the public that they are going to complete this project by the end of October. Today is 29th, or
Yeah.
yes. So if by the end of October, today is 29th, so we have
2 more days.
2 more days. 2 more days. So when you check the story, realize that the OPD, the hospital itself is at the ground floor. That is the OPD section, and it has not been completed. So I wonder if there is going to be a magic within 2 days for them to complete on time.
Right.
Yeah.
My
So
concern-
that is one question
Yeah.
that I think the Ministry of Health needs to also equally let the public understand. If the completion will not be within the time frame as they told us some days ago or some months ago, they should come back to tell the public that, oh no, we said by the end of October. This time around, we can't complete by the end of October, but rather we do it in this particular time.
So,
yeah, there's a
Clement,
lot of impact. Okay.
I don't know, but
Okay.
I also read, in the news where President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo early this year, I think somewhere in February, made mention of the fact that the project was going to be completed in the next 28 months. So I don't know if there is a mix-up somewhere, but he made mention that it was going to be completed in the next 28 months.
So yes, so that was, I think, when the demolition exercise was done. So when you check the 28th month, it's going to counter somewhere by the end
of
before
this-
we enter into election. That was how the project is supposed to be. But people, our residents are saying that they doubt if really the October ending is really going to work. But Yara, the one concern I have is that in as much as we are waiting for the completion of this project, the Ministry of Health made other provisions for the people of La after demolition of the hospital. Omo AC polyclinic be more. Did they give them a place that they can go to, or they are supposed to travel all the way to Lekma, right? Yes, around Teshi, that place for healthcare. So all these things are things that citizens are expecting, because when you read the news from one of the media houses, they said that a resident reported that was last Sunday. I think a sister was seriously sick, and because La Hospital is not in operation, they're supposed to take her to the Lakma. Before they got there,
She died.
She died.
Yes.
So this and many more are the issues that we expect the Ministry of Health to address.
And your concern is similar to mine, that this is a hospital, this is a facility that serves a population of people. It's a health facility, so this is about life and death. And yes, there are structural issues, but wasn't there an alternative? Like, you take one side, refurbish it, rather than demolition, and then there is no way to access healthcare in that place unless you go all the way to Lekma, right?
Yeah.
Why? Because like even as they tell us, if you are about to leave a job, your leg has to be on something. So you don't just go cold turkey. If you want to better healthcare for us, and knowing the way the economy can get in the state of affairs in the country, would it not be rather prudent that, okay, let us refurbish the OPD. When we finish refurbishing, we come to this part, because now the place has been demolished. Maybe even, okay, we don't know the details about the demolition, but what about the equipment and all of that? If they could have even put up a structure, like you were saying, almost see polyclinic BC, because now it's been 4 years since 2020. And I'll plainly say it does not look like this is a matter of urgency, because this is the health of people. This hospital, in whatever rickety looking way it was still serving people. People were able to go and deliver their kids, or even just get general healthcare access. Now that has been lost for 4 years now. How many lives have been lost just because of that? Even we've got one report, but how many have been lost that we do not know of? How many women have not been able to have their children? Or how many people have died of very preventable illnesses just because they could not access healthcare in their community?
We've seen a lot of protests and demonstrations from the people of La for their hospital, because it is a person need, a person concern that they need immediate attention. And I wasn't surprised when the ranking member of the Health Committee of Parliament, Kwabena Minta Akando, raised concerns about transparency regarding the construction and funding of the hospital, because according to him, he says government has not been truthful to the people of La. Because I think somewhere, is it 2022, in the budget, it was stated that some money were allocated for the reconstruction of the building. And so what has happened to the money?
Yes.
Can't we have like a blog, one blog, a structure to, start working as we complete the other parts, just like Yaira was saying?
Yes. So, Mimi, back to that. I think the October time frame was for the OPD, the completion of the OPD. And as we speak, which is supposed to have a capacity of 164
beds,
rooms, yes, beds. But they have not even completed that. So we hope to see the Ministry of Health, as they released a statement yesterday, that they are going to involve all stakeholders. They should do it as soon as possible
we can do
for
this.
the people of La, because they are really suffering.
A lot of, with, is it Abraham Maslow's theory of needs? Healthcare is one of our basic needs. So this should be something that's treated with urgency. You've demolished the whole hospital. Within 6 months to a year, we should be seeing something. Even if it's an uncompleted building, it should be functioning in a way or something. But, here on Cocoa Digest, we remain hopeful, as usual. So we have quite a number of comments. So this one says, this is in reference to Ikadonko's death in the advocacy. He says, HM Joe says, we do advocate for young, energetic and vibrant persons to run the country, but then it is said that it's an error for the age of a president to be younger than the years of the country's independence. Asemo Ankasa. Hey. Now, D&J Ventures says, good morning. I think US should be more concerned about their country. Some naive individuals will think it's a good idea. It's just another way to control the outcome. They are indirectly threatening those who are against their agenda. Hey.
Agenda setting.
More comments. HM Joe also says, people trolling us per seconds have a funny political aspect to it. Our school color, breaking the 8, and the tag we gave our 9th title, Adonai, linking Adodi. Hey, I have no idea about this.
This one is straight to you.
Then we also have, good morning. I'm watching live from Teshi. My condolences to the family of Madame Ikadonko and the entire GFP members. Thank you very much. Then we also have, yes, so this one says, Rose Entertainment, it's a beautiful brand new day. Good morning to you all. This is Charles watching from Dubai. And then there's good morning, Cocoa Digest, still Persec with fire emojis. I will be back. We will be back next year. It was some learning hitches. This is from Isaac Asari from Sunyane. He'll be back anytime soon. 8 more years before you come.
Oh, they'll be back. They'll be back. I trust the process.
So HM, okay, I've read this already. Now we have Lady's Journey. She says, "Love conquers all, and with this act, we shall walk as Christ did." Thank you so much. Then, okay, yes, our comments. These are the comments we have now. Thank you so much for sending in your comments to us, and thank you for joining the live stream as well. So the next story here is about the baby that was allegedly sold for 300 cedis in Sekondi was found under mysterious circumstances. So a 2-week-old baby reportedly sold for 300 Ghana cedis in Nkontompo, a community within the Sekondi Takoradi metropolis of the Western region, has been discovered under unusual circumstances. Mamiesi, the elder sister of the baby's mother, informed an FM station on October 28 that they found the baby at approximately 2 a.m. on Monday right at the doorstep of the mother's home in Nkontompo. She suspects that someone might have placed the baby there in the dark of the night. And there's a quote here: "I was asleep when someone alerted me that a baby had been abandoned on the doorstep of my sister. I quickly got there and it was the baby who was gone missing. We still do not know who brought the baby at that time, but we have come to the police station to lodge an official complaint," she indicated. Now, at the Office of the Western Region Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit, that's DOVSU, the baby could be seen wrapped in a cloth, and he looks hale and hearty. So, the story of the lady who sold her baby for 300 cedis allegedly. The baby is back.
We thank God.
Yes, that's the thing we will say. We thank God.
And is the mother with the baby?
I think she would get arrested.
Of course.
Because this is
So
literally
is it the mother
trafficking.
who sold the baby?
Yeah, according to reports, it seems there was a little transaction. There was a middleman and something like that. So she got her 300 cedis. And I think there was even a little conversation about that in my office. And it went back down to my usual standard of living.
Yeah, this is not standard of living.
It is.
This is not standard of living. We shouldn't put this on standard of living.
It is.
Why will you sell a baby and you call it standard of living?
Is it not hunger that will drive somebody?
Yeah,
Even Jacob and Esau.
This is not hunger. This is lack of love. I wish the woman listening to our motivation quote this morning, she will get to understand that being pregnant for 9 good months and putting to bed. That's what
I even think there's a reason why God intentionally created that pain, attached to childbirth. Because if you are a mother and you've been able to, deliver, or you've been delivered of a child, and you are able to sell the child.
I'm here to confirm that she's the one who sold the child.
I don't think the pain was,
I also believe that the level of poverty probably transcended the pain.
Let's put away poverty.
The child is innocent.
Let's put away poverty.
So there's this, this on Nigeria Twitter where they are saying it is who has eaten that can maybe press phone, or so sometimes the person will sell his phone, just to get something to eat. There are people suffering that much,
but not to the extent of selling a baby.
But okay,
for how
not
much?
to the extent of somebody sold his birthright for food.
No, that one is biblical point of view, and that biblical point of view is trying to communicate to we mankind something.
Yes,
it's just God used that scenario to communicate.
He lost a lot of things, right?
Yes, he did, and this is somebody who is willing to sacrifice her child. That, as you are all saying here, this is something so valuable. And
I'm happy that we have laws against child trafficking.
It is trafficking, and I am happy that the child has been brought back. But what are the repercussions? The money that she was paid, is she going to have to refund? And if she refunds, and maybe that money was supposed to cater to some needs of hers, and now she refunds it.
It is not our problem. She didn't think about all these things before.
No, were we not here when we got the story of the lady who poisoned herself and her kids because they could not survive? So it is possible. I'm not saying that it is justification.
This one, it is not possible. Now, how will you sell your child because of poverty?
People do leave their kids on some refuse dump just because they know they cannot cater to that child.
But you cannot. What happened to seeking for help? What happened to asking people to support you?
Mimi, that question is a different question.
No.
Because in our current state,
I will ask.
Yes.
I will ask for.
But this is having a child. People will tell you, did you not know you did not have the capacity to take care of this child before you went to do the activities that bring forth children? You don't have to pay attention
to what people say. They will say it, but they will help you.
Will they?
They will. If you don't help me, it will help me.
I will.
Because he loves me.
Exactly. That's why I think the people of Sekendi should watch more Clock TV morning show. They'll get to understand this morning quote is for the woman and the family.
Seriously.
Because when you love, like as we said, love. Odo rian kunimdie. It is a wodo ba won ton ba
for 300 cedis.
But I doubt.
Hey, let's behave ourselves. So we have a few more comments coming up. So this one says, for the issue of the hospital, they are giving a temporary facility at Latano. Okay, I may not have pronounced it well. I'm sorry.
Latino.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Latino. Okay, Latino inside La. But notwithstanding, the hospital must be completed by all cost, or at all cost. That's what he's trying to say. Then we also have... yes, we have a Goodyear Film Production saying, still waiting patiently to hear the good news about the OPD working. And Rose Entertainment is also, I think, in reference to the baby being sold, postpartum depression. That is also a very possible reason someone would sell their child. So thank you so much for your comments.
I think with the La issue, we'll have to, one day invite Eunice over and then
she lives
I
there.
can see she's whispering a lot of things to us.
Okay. So the third story here says the Supreme Court to hear the anti-LGBT cases on October 31. So the Supreme Court has scheduled Thursday, October 31, to resume hearing the applications filed by broadcast journalist Richard Delasky and gender activist Dr. Amanda Odoi regarding the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill, commonly known as the Anti-Gay Bill. Richard Delasky, who is also a private legal practitioner, is contesting the constitutionality of the anti-LGBTQ bill, while Dr. Odoi has submitted an injunction against the Speaker of Parliament and the Attorney General. She is requesting a court order to prevent the Speaker, Attorney General and Clerk of Parliament from forwarding the passed bill to President Akufo-Addo for his approval. During the last adjournment, the lawyers representing the Speaker of Parliament were instructed to submit their disclosures within 7 days after acknowledging that their previous inaction had led to delays in the case's proceedings. Now, the hearing has faced numerous delays since July, with supporters of the anti-LGBTQ bill accusing the judiciary of hindering progress. They have organized a demonstration to express their frustration and are urging that legal proceedings be expedited.
But why has this issue delayed in courts? Why? The other time when these, parliamentary issues came up, we were surprised that, there are so many
that same day
pending issues at court, yet with our very own vacant seats, we had an immediate ruling from the Supreme Court. I don't understand why this issue has delayed in court. Some will see it as a political tool, something to take our attention of the present, concerns happening in the country, like Galamsey, for instance. And so they intentionally delay such issues and then bring it up again so people can talk about it, and then our minds are shifted.
Goes,
But
for me, with a bill, I think it should be reviewed. And certain things, even though they're already in the Constitution, should be added to it to emphasize. There should be some emphasis on it, like pedophilia, the rape, and molestation as well. Because yes, this is mainly about sexual orientation, and some people also claim they are attracted to children and things like that. If more emphasis is placed, because in our society here, even though we are sort of improving when it comes to cases on molestation and pedophilia, we still need that emphasis placed on it as much as it is being placed on homosexuality, so that when that bill is passed, we can, just like there are some provisions or sanctions for anybody who is caught in any act or all of that, because all of these things are all termed under unnatural carnal knowledge. And children being affected is something that's on my heart. And I think that if we add it and it's emphasized and the bill is passed, then it's fine. But if it is just about the term that people usually like to use, for decorous reasons, I won't, just because it is men or women and women, it should not. It should go beyond that. Even on our TV and radio stations, the kinds of conversations that people have, talking about their activities and exposing children to these. Sometimes you even find a TV show and they're talking about sex positions. And yes, under normal circumstances, children should not have access to that. But why should such things even be put on TV for children? That's one of the questions I am also asking, that if we are going to put some sort of ban on some of the activities, we should put it on all the activities that come together to talk about the sexual orientation of people, whether you are straight, as they call it, or homosexual, or whatever sexual you are, everything that encapsulates it. Because at the end of the day, we are trying to protect our young. We are trying to, and also these are things that are not, as we say, our cultural values. People touching children is not our cultural value. It should be emphasized that no, we shouldn't allow this. And so if there's a delay, maybe some of these things could be added to it to take away the attention and then even prevent the mob action, because when this bill is passed, if we don't take care, people may take the law into their own hands and try to attack whoever they find. As if it's a man who's a little effeminate, you find people ambushing him like he's an armed robber and things like that, because it is not part of our cultural values. I don't know if what I'm saying makes some sense.
It does, but I'm also looking at, the rights of these people. In as much as we are against it, I also feel they have their rights to, freely exhibit any kind of sexual behavior they want to. So this conversation actually is something that needs to be, thought through and out before some decisions can be made.
Exactly.
Well, they said the main basis of it is that our cultural, religious, and familial values do not support such.
That is our culture.
Yes.
But don't forget that some people were not born here. They were born out there, and then they came back home. So what happens to such people?
That is why
are you trying to make their home unsafe for them?
So, Mimi, I decided not to talk about this.
Oh no, we have to explore all angles.
Yes. So no matter the kind of home you were brought up, this activity is never part of Ghanaian culture. As Yaira said, the religious leaders are against it. Opinion leaders are against it. But there are few who have gone to court against this very issue, of which somewhere in, let me get that information right, somewhere in June, when they went to Supreme Court for injunction, preventing the Speaker of Parliament to present the bill to the President, the Supreme Court gave a ruling. He said Ghana Supreme Court has deferred the ruling on the request to restrain Parliament from transmitting the anti-LGBT bill filed by Dr. Amanda Odei until the substantive case is heard and determined. This came out somewhere in the month of June when this issue of anti-LGBT bill was coming up. So if they said they are going to hear or sit on the matter again, I think they need to, so that we see what will come up next. The discussion, the detailed discussion today, I wouldn't say much into it. I think we will use another day to talk much because our time is fast spent.
Yes.
We use another day to talk much about that.
I also want to add something about our journalists actively participating in advocacy on this issue. For me, I think it goes against the ethics of journalism, because as journalists, we are supposed to be objective. We are supposed to fight for the marginalized. We are supposed to be the voice for the voiceless. But here is the case where we find most journalists actively, advocating for this bill to be passed. What's message are you sending across the marginalized? Because in this case, those that find themselves in that act are the marginalized. So they should act objectively. I'm just coming from ethics.
I understand your point.
It is part of the profession. So
that's very
make sure
good.
that you do not make it look as if you are against them, because you are supposed to represent them.
That's very good. So in as much as always we speak for the marginalized group, in any situation, there is always a marginalized group. So if we the media or journalists, we are always going to be objective in such matters, then trust me, we wouldn't always speak to issues as it is.
It is part of the job.
Because let's look at the issue of Galamsey. Let's look at the issue of Galamsey. We have the marginalized in it.
Yes.
But the whole media coalition stood against it. Every media house was talking about it. So should they sit aloof and look at...
The reason why we were against it was because it was affecting everyone. It was a general thing that was affecting. How does somebody's
Hey.
How does it affect?
Okay, so I think Yara, for the sake of time, we wouldn't drag this. But let give out.
The whole thing is there should be some parameters as to how these things are done. Like, as I was saying, I am advocating for keeping all these sexual orientation things away from children, whether straight to homosexual to, I don't know, that is sexual, anything. If you're attracted to metals, to human beings, whatever, keep it away from children. Keep adults from engaging in any sexual activity with children, because at the end of the day, it is the children we are thinking about. So that is my point of view. And then the fact that influence. There should, you see, so this bill has to be passed in a way that it does not infringe on the rights of people. Yes, maybe here you are not allowed to marry, but until you are innocent until you are proven guilty. So if you are not also overtly showing any signs of anything that would cause you to be found wanting under that bill, I think you should be able to live your life.
Yes.
But if you are doing things stipulated in the bill and you are caught, you are being public about it in the name of being myself. I'm not saying repress and suppress yourself and your personality, but there should be some things to guide, because we are humans and we cannot say that just because of the majority's sentiments we would just stifle the minority or the marginalized. And then even coming to Galamsey, there's this quote, I think it's by, is it Abu Sankara, that champagne, we shouldn't sacrifice water for champagne for some. The people who want quick money, who are engaging in this Galamsey, are going to cause all of us to go and be drinking or even consuming polluted water just because they want to survive, which is a very, very different scenario, plays vis-a-vis the LGBT issue.
This is not a different scenario.
It is.
Galamsey started some years ago, right? Some years ago. If this LGBT now we are talking about, saying that the journalists, due to our professional ethics, we shouldn't speak either against it or let's speak for it. We should just speak our mind as it's supposed to be. That is the same basis how Galamsey was planted in the economy of Ghana. And this is where we are today, where it is affecting everybody. Ghana Water Company is crying. If this thing also come to stay, trust me, some years ahead of us, 20 years to come, our kids and this thing will be normal in the streets of Accra. But away from that, away from that,
can we place the effect on the same scale as our water bodies?
We can.
Basic need.
Yes, we can.
Being polluted to the highest level.
More than the word highest, because in the Bible it happened to the Sodom and Gomorrah. What happened? Oh, trust me, it can come in so many ways. So let's protect it today. You see, let's save it today and leave it.
Let's be honest here. It is not a bill that will prevent people from indulging in whatever they want to indulge. This bill can be passed. People will be doing it, and God will still send the fire.
Yes, do it in secret. Yes, we have no problem. We have no problem with you doing it in your room.
In secret,
and the bill has been passed.
How do you
now when the fire comes, what happens?
It's you and your God. Our issue is
at the end of the day,
we hear that people are doing it, but we've not seen it. But with Galamsey, we've seen it with our Koloko.
So wait, Yara, don't go. Let me give this. There was a breaking news. 8 dead in Boko conflict as gunmen block Bolgatanga Tamale Highway.
Wow.
So 8 people are dead in Boko conflict. You see, it's issue that is really happening to the extent that some political parties have suspended their campaign. Yes.
The Ghana police also released a press statement about their security and enforcement team to make sure that the people of Boko, Bolgatanga, those using that commute are safe.
Okay, sure.
So wrapping up, let's take the last comments that came through. So HM Joe says, the baby selling, I might side with Yaira on this one. Mimi, the mother does not want to go through another pain of caring or raising it up. So, she could have been a victim of rape. We don't know. So let's just leave it there. Please, let's calm down.
Some. The word is some.
Agudia Film Production says, things they happen. TA says, 300 cedis per. Then HM Joe says, oh, Mimi, are you saying this LGBT kill will not affect the country in the long run? Now, TA says, what a confused leadership, always acting and doing the right thing whenever there's pressure on them. Then we have, okay, so this one says, this is from, I think, Obiba. He says, oh, Mimi, this human rights and human left issues, Then someone says, okay. He says, Yaira, how can you sell your child for 300 cedis? Do you know what this child could be? If you can't take care of her, just send her to a children's home. Some mothers don't have love at all, yet we celebrate them more than fathers. It's not a competition.
That's the word.
Please.
This one, yeah, I support you.
Else we'll go another 20 minutes though. So this is from Kingsford Esilfi Sego. And yes, thank you so much for your comment.
Oh, I wanted to hear comments, for our last discussion.
No.
Producer keeps
Our time is up.
Signaling us.
Thank you so much for joining in the conversation, sending in your comments to our live stream and onto our WhatsApp numbers. It is still the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. Up next is the business segment with Clement Yabankoe. He's going to be taking us into the world of business, home and abroad. We will be right back.
Clog TV. Beyond the Policy.
Good morning, welcome to the Business Update segment. I am Clement Yabankwe, and we bring you nothing but the best in the world of business. Before we get to our stories for today, let's take a look at our business latest for today. Today's business latest, we are going to look at how Ghana cedis is trading with the three major international currencies that we have. That is the United States dollar, that of the pound sterling, and that's of the euro. So the euros and the pound sterling. But let's go back to that of the United States dollar. This 3 months ago, the Ghana cedis to United States dollar was 15 Ghana cedis, 58 pesos. 3 months ago, 15 Ghana cedis, 58 pesos. As at this morning, it's 16 Ghana cedis, 36 pesos. 16 Ghana cedis, 36 pesos. 5.01%, 5.01%. As of the euros too, as at 3 months ago, is 16 Ghana cedis, 98 pesos. 16 Ghana cedis, 98 pesos. Currently is 17 Ghana cedis, 79 pesos. And the percentage change is 4.77%. 4.77%. That's of the pound sterling. 3 months ago is 20 Ghana cedis and 8 pesos. 20 Ghana cedis and 8 pesos. Currently is 21 Ghana cedis, 31 pesos. And the percentage change is 6.13%. 6.13%. Let's go back to that of the United States dollar. That is what mostly we use. So assuming 3 months ago, we borrowed an amount of 1,000 United States dollars from the US. We borrowed an amount of 1,000 United States dollars, which as at 3 months ago is equivalent to 15,580 Ghana cedis. 15,580 Ghana cedis as at this morning. The same $1,000 we went for 3 months ago, as at this morning, is going to be an amount of 16,360. 16,360. So within 3 months, there's going to be a more Ghana cedis that you need to just write off this amount of 1,000 United States dollars. And the change is 780 Ghana cedis. 780 Ghana. So this is one of the impacts of how our cedi is depreciating to United States dollars in terms of loan repayment. We need more Ghana cedis to service such an amount of 1,000 United States dollars. 1,000 United States dollars. Let's just move straight into our business news for today. Starting with the International Monetary Fund Board is set to review Ghana's third program on December 2nd, 2024, potentially approving a 360 million United States dollars disbursement to Bank of Ghana to support the government's budget and balance of payments. This follows a staff-level agreement based on data reviewed up to June 2024. If approved, Ghana's total IMF funding would reach 1.92 billion United States dollars. Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam expressed optimism that this support, alongside an additional 300 million United States dollars from the World Bank, will strengthen Ghana's reserve, stabilize the cedis, and reassure businesses on foreign exchange availability. He also highlighted increased investor confidence in Ghana's economic reforms.
The cedi has stabilized for some time now. Over the last 1 month or so, we've seen relative stability in the cedi, and we are determined to continue to stabilize the cedi. The worry by many people is that demand for Forex will increase as we go closer to Christmas. And I can tell you that the Bank of Ghana has accumulated significant reserves to meet the demand. We also know that the IMF, after the board approval on the 2nd of December, will disburse $360 million to Ghana. We are working with the World Bank also to disburse another $300 million under the DPO series. And so in addition to what the bank has already accumulated in reserves, we're expecting these flows, forex flows, which certainly will help in stabilizing the cedi further into next year.
In our second story, Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam has criticized Sunun Aslugod Power Plant Limited decision to halt operations due to the Electricity Company of Ghana's ECG $259 million United States debt, calling it an act of bad faith. The 560 megawatt plant shutdown has raised concern about the potential return of DUMSO, intermittent power outages, which could significantly impact Ghana's economy. Speaking after an annual IMF World Bank meeting in Washington, D.C., Dr. Amin Adam assured the public that efforts are underway to resolve the issue.
And we agreed that we will pay. But we wanted them to sign the settlement agreement because this is one of the terms of the agreement. They said, no, we should pay before they sign. But if it is part of the settlement agreement, why should I implement an agreement that has not been? And so we communicated this to Asogli, only for Asogli to come and say they no longer want 30 million, now they want 60 million. And if we don't pay them 60 million, they will shut down. That is why they shut down. Right. And so people behave as if we as a country, we don't know our rights. And so by going ahead to shut down, they acted in bad faith. This is not how partners work together, particularly when it involves financial negotiations. So they shut down. We continue to produce power. I was informed only yesterday that they are ready to sign the settlement agreement. And so we've instructed ECG to go ahead and sign. That should help in normalizing our relationship so we can move on. And so by signing that relationship, so we can move on. And so by signing that agreement, I was informed only yesterday that they are ready to sign the settlement agreement. And so we've instructed ECG to go ahead and sign. That should help in normalizing our relationship so we can move on. And so by signing that agreement will also help financial negotiations. So they shut down.
In our last story, the Volta River Authority will undertake the first major renovation of the 40-year-old pond dam and its spillway gates in Akusi to stabilize its eroded dike and enhance spillway reliability for safety amid climate change. At a stakeholders meeting, VRA's Engineering Director, Kweku Riafi, addressed community concern, assuring that the project will not harm fishing activity or water quality. Additionally, plans include rehabilitating the 10-kilometer road from Okainkwe Junction to Ekusi. Thank you for staying with us for the business update segment. Up next is the lifestyle segment with Miriam Abena Adidi. Stay tuned.
Clog TV. Beyond the Policy.
And that was MOG with Fire of the Holy Ghost filling this place for us this morning. I can feel the atmosphere being filled with the Holy Spirit. You're welcome back to the Cocoa Digest Morning Show here on Clock TV. I am Miriam Abena Adede. Now, it is a Tuesday morning, and as part of our lifestyle conversation, we discuss health-related topics. And today, we are discussing something that is related to our health. I'm talking about a chronic lung disease known as asthma. For some time, people have not really spoken about it because we assume it is part of, the normal diseases that people should have. But raising concerns about this have popped up on the internet that makes it very prudent that we have this conversation. Now, a study involving 20,000 students aged 12 to 14 across sub-Saharan Africa, including Accra and Kumasi, found that 12% reported asthma symptoms, though only 20% of them were formally diagnosed. And asthma happens to be the second leading cause of chronic respiratory death in sub-Saharan Africa. Asthma has also been steadily rising across Africa, particularly among adolescents. According to the Global Asthma Network and the World Health Organization, Nigeria and South Africa are seeing sharp increases. Contributing factors include urbanization, air pollution, and lifestyle changes, coupled with limited health care access. Now, it is very important that we talk about this because we know from what I have read now that a lot of people have this condition. Now, how do they manage the condition regardless? How to manage it is what we are going to be talking about, looking at the impact of exercise on asthmatic patients. And unfortunately, we couldn't have our guest on to talk to us in person here, but we have him across to speak to us online. So if my producer could link me to our doctor, so we have a brief conversation with him. Okay. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Derek Colette.
Yes.
I welcome you to Clock TV.
Come again.
I welcome you to Clock TV.
Oh, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be on.
Right. So we are having a brief conversation here, and we are talking about the impact of exercise on asthmatic patients. And before that, I read something that shows how increasing asthma conditions have been in sub-Saharan Africa, with Ghana not being an exception. With your expertise, can you please tell us how asthma affects our respiratory system, particularly people physically active?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. It's a great question. I'd like to say a big thank you to our viewers for taking time to tune into the lifestyle segment. Asthma, just as we talked about, is a long-term condition that affects the airways. And by airway, we mean the organ that's responsible for breathing, or the breathing system of the human body. So you breathe, first of all, through your nostrils. And when you pull air through your nostrils, it runs through your nose, it runs through your nostrils to the back of your throat, and it goes down into your lungs. And in your lungs, they go down into smaller tubes and end up in a spongy bit of tissue we call an alveoli. So this alveoli essentially is where the air you breathe in, enters your blood system or your blood circulation. So the alveoli are surrounded by tiny muscles, and these muscles can constrict, or they can tighten up, reducing the exposure your blood has with the air from the outside that you're breathing. And then they can loosen up, allowing for your blood to have more access to the air that you breathe in. So essentially, people with asthma, or people who have an asthmatic condition, have a fundamental problem with the availability of air getting into, or oxygen getting into the blood as a result of challenges at the alveolar level. Either there's too much body fluid that impeding the oxygen from getting into the alveoli, or the muscles surrounding the alveoli tend to constrict and tighten up, not allowing enough room for the body to have, a healthy communication with the oxygen that we breathe in. So essentially, that's what an asthma, essentially that's what causes an asthma. Just like we talked about, we are experiencing an increasing rise of asthma. Even I'm speaking, from a health facility at the moment, and then I've seen a number of asthmatic patients within a very short period. So it gives you a fair idea of the prevalence of asthma.
Yeah. Doc, what do you think is causing, the increase in the numbers?
So, we need more research to establish the direct comparison. Associations have been drawn between urbanization, environmental factors, and then genetic factors. You could say that the reason why we are seeing more people coming up with asthma is because maybe the health-seeking behavior of people has shifted from herbal medicine to more of contemporary medicine. So we are recording more cases of people coming through the hospital with asthma. Some also argue that because of urbanization, one of the causes of asthma is that children are not allowed. We call that an exposure hypothesis. If children are not allowed to play, like growing up, you used to play pillow in the sand, you used to play, fall on the ground, play football. But more children that are coming up in this age are playing computer games, playing indoor games. They have very little exposure to the outside environment. As a result, they develop some failed with the system. That leads to the fluid buildup in the lung that contributes to an asthma formation. So I think it's a bit of health-seeking behavior, as well as the exposure. When less and less playing outside, as opposed to those who are playing inside.
Right. So, Doc, if I got you right, you are trying to say that it is important that people stay active, especially those with a condition, right?
Yes. So when it comes to asthma, essentially the experience that for you to be able to do any physical activity, you need to be able to breathe. If you stop breathing in, you are unable to carry out meaningful physical activity. Now, for clients living with asthma, we allow for some amount of physical activity. It's actually been found to be helpful. Science is found to be helpful for clients living with asthma. However, there are a few things they may have to make. If you have an asthmatic condition, engage in some form of exercise.
Okay, so we are looking at the impact of exercise on asthmatic patients. Doc, can you name some few exercises that you think is greatly impacting the lives of asthmatic patients?
Okay, that's a great question. We have exercise for sporting activities that we encourage for asthmatics. And then we have some other exercises. We have
Hello, Doc.
Hello.
Hello, Doc.
Yes. Okay, please. Hello.
Hello, Doc. Could you come back with your submission, please?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, yes. So I think that there are some exercises that are recommended for people living with asthma, and some exercises that are not recommended for people with asthma. So essentially, first of all, before you even exercise, you have to first of all know yourself. First of all, the individual has to know himself, because every asthma is different to person. For some people with slightly different exercise, it tends to trigger an asthmatic attack. For some others, there are some exercises that air pollution, air pollution, diesel, can trigger an asthmatic attack. So now, if you are exercising in an environment where you get exposed to allergens, once you are exercising, you feel yourself breathing in through your mouth and through your nostrils. So you are taking in a lot more of these allergens per time as you exercise. So these allergens going into your alveoli and your airway can further worsen the attack.
Right.
So it's important that once we know ourselves and the frequency of the attacks that we get, we also be aware of the environment in which we exercise. And then the types of exercises that I talked about should not be exercises that involve like some form of rest plays or some form of box using body contact that gets a bit out of hand. Exercises that involve very long distance running. I'm not encouraging people with that. Jogging is fine, either playing tennis, playing some amounts of football, everything is fine. But if it's becoming excessive, then what you realize is that because you're breathing through your mouth, your nostrils essentially contains hair follicles. So the hair, when you breathe in, will sieve out some of the allergens. That's the dust, a bit of the smoke, and then other pollen grain that comes through that can trigger an attack. Once you breathe through your nostrils, it sieves out all those allergens. Now, when you're exercising, you find yourself panting. And once you're panting, the tendency is that you start breathing through your nose as well, through your mouth as well. And when you breathe through your mouth, the air you may breathe in may be unfiltered air, which exposes you to a higher volume of the allergens per time. So, very excessive amount of exercise can be counterproductive for people living with asthma.
Thank you so much. So first of all, we need to know ourselves and also know the kind of environments we are in before we embark on an exercise, right?
Absolutely.
Right. So from our research, we got to know that a lot of these people are teenagers and adolescents. How do you think parents and guardians can, assess their wards in embarking on some of these exercises?
Right. So, important that every asthmatic is linked to healthcare. So, most people who have asthma should have a clinic in their town, where they are positioned. They are up to date in terms of medications that they're on. They're up to date in terms of the inhalers that they use. They're up to date in terms of their activities and that are recommended for aging and things that are not recommended for aging. Also, to parents having children with asthma should have a healthy community with the schools that their children attend. So essentially, if you have a child of asthma, the teacher should be aware of the fact that the child has, so that if anything happens, they know instead of being confusing and panicking, they have a clear understanding of your ward.
Okay. Are there any warning signs that both parents and also the adolescents should look out for when exercising?
Great. So it's a very great question. So the symptoms of asthma is shortness of breath. You feel a certain sensation of tightness. You feel there's a amount of cough, some the shortness of breath, the tightness in your chest. Having a general, feeling of and having difficulty breathing. And then for some people, they are able to hear, or if they are close to them, hear a whistle, you hear a whistling, the sound of a whistle, the breathing and the breathe out, because the lungs are really tightening up, the muscles are tightening. So creates a very narrow space for the breathing to. So essentially, you hear like air blowing very narrow space. We call that a So if you listen, they are breathing very fast, difficult to breathe. You can hear a whistle like sound. Then you know that they are having attack or they are just about to get very serious.
Right. Thank you so much. Lastly, Doc, looking at one of the causes of asthma, we made mention of the fact that urbanization is one of them. And looking at our current setting, especially Accra, from the research, I made mention of Accra and Kumasi being notable cities where these conditions are being detected. Now, from your outfit, how are you putting measures in place to ensure that we curb this rise in issues? Because it looks like it is something that is not ending anytime soon. So what is your outfit and other health facilities doing about the rise in numbers?
Right, so I think it's a very great question. So maybe at the beginning, I started to talk about how asthma comes about. Then one of the points I made is that there's a genetic component of it, where if your parents have, they're very likely to have it. So it's a familial component, a genetic component of it. There's the organization component you talked about comes about as a result of people moving into a more westernized culture, where we don't allow kids to play outdoors. We don't allow kids to play outside. It's not when a child is growing up. What happens is that when they come back from playing, from the road, from playing, essentially, body needs how to come back, adapt itself, modify itself to become efficient. But when kids, because of urbanization and then a westernized style, our kids are indoors playing, hardly go out to play. So their body is not used to pick up things like you and they have that this way, and our body is used to fighting. Those were playing pillow, the ground, and play on the other sports on the ground. But urbanization and westernized lifestyle, and kids being more indoors, so their immune systems become much more unskilled in learning how to fight infections. So these individuals, later when they're exposed to some form of an infection, their body systems will respond to infections that they are young at the initial stage. And then that starts for asthmatic pathophysiology. In fact, I realized this is about inflammatory with you and I feel that going a bit back in terms of our lifestyle, shall give you that activity play when you are much younger.
Right. Thank you so much, Doc, for your time this morning.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, do enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Bye.
Right, and that was Dr. Derek Kolete, a medical practitioner and resident in Kolebu Teaching Hospital here in Accra. And he was our guest for today as we discussed the impact of exercise on asthmatic patients. My takeaway from this conversation is that we should allow our kids to go out and play. Let them have some form of exercise so the rate at which we are, experiencing asthma in our country can be reduced a bit. Right. So this is where we end the lifestyle segment here on the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. Up next is our birthday segment. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
I heard today was your birthday. I heard today was your birthday. I heard today was your birthday.
Lord continue to bless you. And this is a special one from me to our very own Daddy Ernest Asari. May the good Lord continue to bless you with many more years. We love you so much, from my aunt, from your sons, and also from me. Happy birthday to Bismarck. God bless you and elevate you. Have an amazing year ahead. We also have this. You are growing up to be an amazing person. Keep exploring, learning, and chasing your passion. Always remember that Rich Auntie loves you so much. Onyame Enshirawo. It has no name. Okay. Okay, so we have a few birthday messages to be displayed right now. Okay, so a happy birthday to Bismarck. God bless you and elevate you. Just as we said, it shouldn't end with just messages. Momo the person. Deliberately act on your feelings and let the person feel loved in so many ways. This is where we end the birthday segment here on the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. I am Miriam Abena Adede. Up next is our main discussion with Yaira and her guests. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Yeah, welcome back to the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. If you're just tuning in, this is the Cocoa Digest Morning Show, and we're about to have our main discussion on agricultural policies and some of the ways to support farmers here in Ghana. And today I have two guests who are both poultry farmers, and they are in the persons of Mr. Joseph Boachi Yadom of Juris Farms and Foods, and then Mr. Lawrence Agosor, right?
Agoso is okay.
Agoso, who is of AgriVision Farms. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Yes, so you're both into poultry, but I'm sure you have different ways you manage. So if you can tell us a little bit about your poultry farms, if you could first.
Thank you, and thank you for having us on the show. Juris Farms is a poultry production, processing and distribution company. We are mainly into broiler production, where we raise our birds at Doma.
Okay.
Then we bring them to our processing facility in Accra. We process them and supply them to supermarkets, restaurants, and households. So that's mainly what we do.
Okay. So what about you?
AgriVision Farms. We are mainly into egg production.
Okay.
We only produce eggs, and that's what we have been doing. But I myself, I have a crop background.
Okay.
So I take interest in all those things, including government policies.
Okay. So I'm sure you're...
But before we go on, let's use this very big platform to wish our farmers, ourselves, happy Farmers Day in advance. Because Farmers Day comes off in 3 days' time.
Okay.
That's 1st of November.
Yeah.
So we want to wish all hard-working farmers. Ours is a thankless job. The kind of things that farmers go through before putting food on our table is not easy.
Yeah.
I travel to my village almost every day, and I see along Adan, and so I see tomatoes and things by the roadside. You go to the market, and some of them are getting rotten. They have to sell it at a very low price and making losses. But every now and then they still spring back.
Yeah.
And so my prayer always for them is that everyone who makes it possible for us to get food at affordable prices, but lose in the process, God should find a way to replenish them.
Amen. Thank you so much.
you.
So as you have the crop background, so I think I may be directing more of the crop-related questions to you. But as farmers, what are some of the challenges you face in the poultry farm?
Yeah, so Ghana poultry at the moment is in a very high distress.
Okay.
And poultry farmers are going through a lot, especially with our main feed ingredient, which is the corn.
Okay.
Over the years, we have had challenges with our corn, but then this year is very, very massive. And for that matter, I think the government has initiated a project to even support the poultry farmers with some maize and stuff. But then at the moment, we don't know how and where even that maize we are going to get it.
Okay.
So at the moment, Ghana poultry industry is suffering a great deal. But then we hope that with programs like this, people in authority will wake up to their responsibility and support the industry. Because with the upcoming Christmas, I don't think there will be enough local birds for people to use during the festive season. And this gives room for the importation of the frozen chicken, which to me, most of them are not human grade for us to be eating. But then because there's no option and the local industry is not capable of producing to meet the demand, we have no option than to import it. So we'll take the opportunity to let government know that we are in a great distress, and for that matter, his initiative of supporting us with maize needs to be enhanced, and we need to understand the policy better so that we can access it.
Okay. So what about you, sir, Mr. Lawrence?
Our programs are myriad. Yes, mentioned only one maize. But I think apart from maize, there are other products like soya. And everything along the food chain, we have problem with it. Then when we come to farmers, poultry farming is a business that banks shy away from giving credit facilities to, because they think it's a high risk area. Okay. Until recently, when we hear there's a company or an organization set up to solve that problem, so that there will be something like farm agri insurance. Okay. I don't know how far it's been. Then we don't have the poultry farm is an unregulated problem. So you can initiate your own thing. Just get some few birds at the backyard, and then you are good to go. So we were thinking that if it is a decision that government is interested in, then the agencies like the veterinary services, they should be the ones in charge. But nothing is happening. Everybody does his or her own thing. They will have issue of unfair competition, as my brother said, from local imports. But these imports, we have no option but to bring them in, because we are not meeting our own local demands. And it talks about supply chain. I think that we farmers must also take some of the blame. The amount of money that goes into poultry production. If every farmer would dedicate some, farmers, one problem we have is that we find it difficult to organize. We like going alone. And you have maybe 2,000 birds, 500 birds. He is doing a bit better. But people have just few birds, and everybody wants to, but we don't want to come together. And these institutions who can help, they normally prefer to deal with farmer-based organization groups rather than individuals. It's easy for them to target us. So I think it's about time we talk about, whilst we are blaming government for not taking much interest, you are the one getting all the profit. Yeah. So why don't you come together and do something for your own? Okay. My farm, together with others, were gutted by the bird flu, was infected between 2021 and 2022. The government came out with a package to pay compensation. Up to now, many of the farmers have not received any compensation. At the time this thing was done, to raise birds to laying, that is around 70 Ghana cedis. Government said it's paying 30 cedis and 20 cedis. Then the price of egg at the time was around 24, 25 cedis. Government said it's paying 8 cedis per crate as compensation. Feed was selling at 139, 165. Government is paying 80 cedis. As I speak now, the price of feed is around 400 cedis plus. Egg is selling around 60 cedis per crate. Government has still not paid. If you are giving that money today, 30 cedis, now it costs about 100 cedis to produce one bird to lay. But you are going to be giving 30 cedis. Even that one, government does not know when they are going to pay. So some of the farmers are now in court trying to take that money, and if there is any interest on it, to make up for. Because everything, at the time, the dollar was not even up to 6 cedis. Now the dollar is 16 cedis. I'm just reading online that it's gone to 16 cedis, 80 pesos. So that money has virtually eroded. You see, so it looks like, and also the problem with us is that where government wants to target, there is cronyism. Okay. I'm sure you probably have heard online that government is rolling out programs to support farmers with feed and maize. We were asked to submit our names. I submitted names of many farmers in my vicinity. when we check with the association, Ghana Greater Accra Association of Poultry Farmers, they said they have not heard anything up to now. It's about a month now. So, but when you go inside to see that some people are receiving. So it has become like sometimes we are in an election, so all those things come into play.
Oh.
Yeah.
So with the answer you've been given, I'm not sure I can ask my next question, because I wanted to ask if there are any government policies at the moment, any current policies that one way or another sort of mitigate some of these challenges.
For the policies, they are there. When government came, they initiated Planting for Food and Jobs. But we are still importing food. We should ask ourselves, how effective are the policies been? That we produce one season, and then the next season we don't have food. We don't have enough storage. We cannot keep food that we can eat for even 1 year without importing. We cannot feed ourselves. So what is the effectiveness of the policies? The policies will come, but sometimes do we have money targeting the policies actually, and is it going to the right direction?
Okay. So what are some of the ways you think that we can make these policies more effective?
You see, some of the policies that they make, they do it is top down. You don't know what the farmers are looking for.
Okay.
Now, this tomato, I keep saying this. I'm sure when you were young, tomatoes were rotting. Banana was getting rotten. Pear, plantain. As for cassava, thankfully now people are using it for beer.
Wow.
So now cassava is hot cake.
Okay.
I'm telling you, when you go to my hometown, now nobody peels cassava. You just uproot it. There is a bobo here, this tricycle. They come and buy, send to the beer, the breweries.
Oh.
So a lot of people are growing cassava. These are some of the initiatives we are looking for. But beyond that, even before then, cassava always have, the cassava doesn't get rotten because it can be turned into kokonte.
Yes.
It can turn into gari,
yes,
and many other things, apart from our own fufu and the rest.
Yeah.
So they don't, and even the peels, they use it for animal feed.
Yeah.
So they don't have, it has a multiple use. What has research done? Research and development. What has it done? So that we can have something for the banana. What about pear? They get rotten, it's an eyesore. Plantain, sometimes they use it for kaklo. But how many people eat kaklo?
Oh, a lot to do. Kaklo and kelewele.
And it's expensive.
Yes, it is. It's very
You see?
expensive because of
so
the oil.
affordability.
Yeah.
You see, so what are we doing? And we are not even promoting locally eating of local food. We are so fixated on pizza and the Indomie and things like that.
Those are the Indomie 5 minutes and it's ready.
But it's not healthy.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, so like he's saying, most of the policies are very theoretical and not practical.
Okay.
So in theory, they look good. But then in practice, they are not something that you can get results by applying those policies. And therefore, I would like to urge the government to sometimes do some pilots of such policies, get the right people, because most of the initiatives of government sometimes goes to people who I would say are politically connected, and therefore their ability to make the program work properly is not that way, because when they know, oh, in any event, this is my friend and I can explain the reason why I didn't succeed. But if you give it to someone that you properly ensure that he does it and yield results, if he fails, you look at the reasons why he failed, then you can correct it. But most of these initiatives, like there was one under NDC where they have the broiler revitalization project. It failed woefully. There are a lot of broiler projects that the government has initiated which have failed, and I've never come across a proper report that seeks to expose the reasons why those initiatives failed and what can be done to make it work. Okay. Because like there are a lot of, when you look at the policies on paper, they are very good, and the motive behind it to make us food sufficient and all that. But at the end of the day, 90% of these policies fail practically, and nothing is being done about it. So we roll over these failed policies over and over again, and we have this. We are at the same place all the time. So I will urge the government to look at the initiatives that he has put on the ground and what the results. So if it was positive, what were the good? Whether positive or negative, there are good part and the bad part. So we take the good part, improve on it, and on the bad side, we look at what can be done better so that we avoid those kind of mistakes.
Okay, so would you, so like Mr. Lawrence was saying that farmers like to, for lack of a better word, farmers are more individualistic. So would you say that it would be better for maybe our government or maybe the ministries to engage the groups of farmers in a sit-down conversation as to how practical these policies could be, where these farmers would, you know, the policy will be explained and then they get to understand, and then they can tell you, even from just hearing that, okay, so and so would not work. Do you think that that would be one of the best ways to go about it?
Yes, and most of these policies during the development stages, most of the farmers are consulted. But you see, I bet today, and at the end of the day, they go ahead, implement it, it doesn't work, and no one is held responsible.
So when, you know, when maybe you as a farmer, you let them know that it would not work, do you also take the step to tell them why it would not work and what the alternative should be, rather than leaving them to their own devices?
Yes, and like I said, you see, a lot of people come into these meetings with their own and so some of these things, they know clearly that what you are saying is right, but then you are in the minority. And
okay, so there's a little bit of a disconnect among farmers.
Yes, too. Very, very well.
So you see, we are talking about explaining to government.
Yes.
You see, the government, every government that comes, the problem we are having in our country is lack of continuity. Every government comes and wants to do their own thing.
Yes, that's true.
If the NDC introduced broadline fertilization program, it didn't work, there must be postmortem to find out why it failed. Then this government will take on from there. Look at the projects we have across the country. Kufo Estates, affordable here and there. Then these people also came to do Saglemi. That is what they do. Everyone comes, they want to do something that identifies with them.
Their party,
but the money you are using is Ghana money. All these projects that are dotted out, they are cost to me and you.
So do you as farmers also admonish them to rather take that? Because if they are not getting these suggestions, maybe they will say, well, then the people too don't want something like that.
Ghana, we employ civil servants and they become civil masters. So they don't listen to you.
Okay. So with your suggestion on unionizing farmers in Ghana, what are some of the ways you think would be best to get farmers to become, so you see how we have, let's say, Concerned Teachers Association, NAT. If we had farmers all over the country in the various regions or districts coming together, what are some of the ways you think could be sort of advertised to them to come together with one mind to be a union of farmers together?
First of all, I think that government can buy legislation. If you want to be a farmer, you must be in this group.
Okay.
But there must be code of ethics.
Okay.
That must be applied. So my brother was talking about people coming to do this. If there is a law that this is what is happening here, then you must follow that. Otherwise, if you are in a leadership, there must be a way to get you out if you are not doing the right thing. But Ghana would not like talking.
Yeah.
If he says it now, somebody will say it's a bad person. So me pay me once. But if there are rules, if you want to join, if you want to be a farmer, you must join this group. You must join a group. And these are the codes and ethics. I think that if government employs a consultant to deal with us, he deals with us as a group. I'm looking forward to a day where we have groups. Some time ago, we met the Millennium Challenge people. And then it said they have a project, an enclave project. They want to reduce the cost of poultry and rice.
Okay.
And they have acquired land at Kumewu, 200,000 hectares, and another 10,000 acres at a place called Kasunya in the Dangbe, Bampram Ningo area. So it's going to be an enclave between, I think, South Tong or North Tong, one of them, Bampram Ningo, and then Dodua. So it means that the people in that area will take that place. And there was a guy there called Nana, a young man, who has about 500 acres of rice. As at the time we went there, they took us there, we went around, and they told us that we should look for a place that we can build poultry there. And we told them, no, you build the structures. We want it to be an enclave where we are in. So that any farmer who wants to farm, come there. You can employ somebody, the vet will be there like customs are. Nobody comes there anyhow. There are rules here. Even from there, the government himself can be able to generate some revenue. The vets are the ones supervising everything. So you pay them for their services. So they generate income, internal generated funds. At the same time, government has opportunity to collect taxes from you because you are making money.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah. So what about you, Mr. Bachi Adam? What are some of the things you think could help with unionizing farmers in Ghana?
Me personally, I have a bit of a challenge on that. Even though it's a good initiative, but looking at how it stands now and how porous our poultry industry is, bringing people together, I don't think is the way to go. It's about empowering individual farms, especially the commercial farms, to be able to stand on their feet. So because we are talking about the smallholder farmers who are doing but 1,000, 2,000, up to like 5,000 once. If they're able, they should be able to manage it. But by looking at someone who has 20, 30, 40,000 birds, it's difficult. And in the case of shortage of maize, you have a huge problem because you can't tell the birds to wait and for you to find the feed and all that. And when you have that kind of farm and you are managing, meeting with these smallholder farmers tend to be a world apart issue. So your problems are not their problems. Their problems are not your problems. So it makes it difficult for you to like make any meaningful suggestion when you meet. Well, let's say we meet and we have 100 farmers. We want to come together. The smallholder farmers are like 80, 90. The big farmers are 10. The problem of the big farmers is not so there's a bit of a disconnect. Even though it's good in the long run for the poultry industry to have it, we really need to, the government needs to maybe deal with the individual farmers, especially the commercial farmers, empower them so they can descend their support to the smallholder farmers, for which reason they can even bring the smallholder farmers together. Because if I'm a commercial farmer and your smallholder farmer, you tend to benefit from me. For example, maybe I can buy corn, I can import, or let's say get someone to grow 50 tons of maize for me, and probably you need 5 or 10 tons in a year. And I tell you, let's come together so that in your year's maize that you need, I'll support you to get it, which is easy for me. Then we can then mobilize the smallholder farmers, because everyone joining an association or something ask of the benefit to him personally. So most of the time, and this is why most of these poultry organizations are not working, because after you've in quote wasted your time to attend the seminar, attend the meeting, at the end of the day, you go home and you think it's a waste of time. But then, if you go and you know that, oh, this initiative will benefit me both in policy and practically on my farm, then the next time you call me for a meeting, I will come. But here is a situation whereby they call for a meeting, you go there, and at the end of the day, you ask yourself, what am I? So the next time they call, most of the big farms will not come. And sometimes it is them that have the voice. When policies and these initiatives come, there are a few key people that they call. So most of even the smallholder farmers don't even hear about it. But then if there is that connect between the commercial farmers and the smallholder farmers, then that message will descend, and whatever information that is put out there will be monitored by the big farmers to ensure that the smallholder farmers also access those facilities and information to their benefit. So at the end of the day, the poultry industry stands to benefit. But then at the moment, the disconnect is too much.
Okay, thank you so much. So it's time for a quick break. Don't forget to send in your questions, your comments and suggestions to our WhatsApp number displayed on your screen, and also on our live stream on YouTube and on Facebook. We will be right back from this break. You're welcome back to the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. If you're just tuning in, this is the Cocoa Digest Morning Show, and we are having our main discussion, which is on agricultural policies, the best ways to support farmers here in Ghana. And our phone lines are open, so you can call in to ask your questions, and then our guests here will answer you. And don't forget to send in your comments to our live stream on Facebook and on YouTube, and also onto our WhatsApp number displayed on your screen. Our phone line would also be displayed on your screen, so you can call in with any of your pressing questions. So, right, back into the conversation. We're talking about farmers unionizing, and during the break I was asking that wouldn't getting farmers together give them a voice? Sometimes when a policy is implemented and maybe, like you were saying, that the commercial farmers may have the voice, but then the smaller holder farmers may not. Maybe in a situation where there's a policy and it may adversely affect the smaller holder farmers, if they are under the umbrella of the commercial farmers, maybe these commercial farmers could speak up for them that this policy, we don't agree to it because it may run down a lot of businesses. What about something like that?
Yeah, let me react to what you said earlier about people wanting autonomy.
We'll come to that. We are here. So in a situation like that, wouldn't bringing farmers together be a good option?
Yeah, so like the obvious saying, there's strength in unity. So definitely coming together is a good thing. But what I'm trying to say is, at this point in time of the Ghana poultry industry, it will be a bit difficult, even though it's necessary. But then we can start the process, because even the umbrella association of the Ghana poultry industry, which is Ghana Poultry Farmers Association, has its own challenges with organization, leadership, and a whole lot. You see, so it should start from there, and that is where the big poultry farms are all in there. So the smallholder farmers can be registered as well. So that, but I would suggest there should be a segregation whereby even in the association, there's a part for the commercial farmers and the smallholder farmers, so that both will have their leadership, and then there's that coordination to ensure that everyone's problems are properly, because when you combine the two, like I'm saying, the commercial farmers have their problems, and like there's 1,000 bags of maize. I use 1,000 bags in about 2-3 days, and you have smallholder farmer who can use it for the whole year. Okay. You see, so my problem is not their problem. So at the end of the day, there should be that kind of result-oriented, targeted at which farmer group that you are talking about. But here is the situation where we combine the whole two. So at the end of every meeting, it's either one had a solution and the other is going without a solution, but then for us to have a proper solution-oriented meetings, there should be that kind of segregation whereby, because each have their peculiar problems. So coming together is the most important thing, but then having to understand and know whose problem is what. Yes, what is very key.
So, Mr. Akoso, you were talking about legislation requiring this unification of farmers by legislation, and I was asking that, what about a situation where farmers are seeking autonomy?
And the taxes are not the same. The tax that my brother will pay is not the same tax I will pay, because it produces at a bigger level. But there must be registration to know what happens. Okay. And so if there are help that must be given to some, they know which people to give to. That is what happens. So you cannot just say, I'm autonomous. You can be autonomous by setting up, you'll be a one-man business. But there are rules. In the same way I'm saying, if the government says that you cannot operate, I don't think that Ghana Medical Association, there is any doctor in the country here who does not belong to GMA. It's by law. So if we can do that, until NAGRAT came to the scene, even CLOSAC, I think you used to have different unions before. Yes, before you had CLOSAC. Until those things came on board, people were always unionized. That is the only way you can fight for your cause. If you want to go all alone, you will not win.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of problems. Look, the small farmers we are talking about, accessibility. That's why food gets rotten. You cannot go to your farm. So government must facilitate some of this. Government is the facilitator to ensure that production is done. You have ever heard of cocoa roads being done to food growing areas so that food can be transported
with ease. Yeah.
With ease. Some of these challenges can better be articulated with one voice. But my voice alone cannot do that.
Yeah.
How many farmers will have the opportunity to sit in front of Closac TV and be beamed across the whole world? You see, but with a group, we can do that. Everybody can make a suggestion. What I'm saying here, maybe somebody in the village has a superior knowledge.
Yeah.
But if we're in a group, we'll bring it.
Yes, you have those conversations.
So I still believe that coming together is, and like we said, the strength is unity.
Yeah.
Long ago, when we were young, there's something called Nobua. We help each other. In the same way, we can help to sell our products. But if you want to sell alone, it's a problem. Marketing, those things all come into play. And then when we are together, we can fight for our price.
Yeah.
Because we can also form a cartel.
Cartel, wow, okay. So you mentioned accessibility, so let's talk a little bit about that. So you have birds. So aside the maize, is there any other thing you feed your fowls?
Yeah, so the feed component, we have one part which is about 5% of the feed component, which is the concentrate.
Okay.
It comes with the amino acids and all the nutritional stuff. Then the maize accounts for about 60%. Then you need soya bean meal, which is the protein aspect of it. You can use fish meal or soya bean meal. And that is where we also have a problem, because that's the waste product of the extraction of oil from the soya.
Okay.
So after they've extracted it, the waste product is what we use to feed our poultry. And the local companies are not getting enough soya beans to process. Okay. And therefore, there's a clear, and at the moment, they are producing less than 10% of the soya bean meal we are using. The rest is imported from either Argentina or Brazil. And because of the dollar stuff and all that, the price has ballooned over over a few months now, and it's becoming difficult. So,
if I may, I'll let you continue with the soya. Even with the soya, 2 years ago, the one we are producing in this country were all being bought by Indians.
And they export.
They are buying from the farmers in dollars.
Yeah.
Oh. So that poses a challenge to local consumers.
Yes, and also the poultry industry,
because you don't have the money. They have the money.
The value chain of the poultry industry extends beyond poultry.
Okay.
So so if there's a proper grain production system in the country, then the poultry industry will be okay. But now there's no, so their problems affect us. And so it becomes difficult at the moment the Ghana poultry is in a lot of distress. You may even have the money, but then you can't even access and like maize is a problem at the moment. A lot of farmers are crying. Probably we have the money to buy, but they can't get it to buy.
Okay.
And not the prices, the rate at which the prices can change. For instance, about 4 months ago, the price of maize was selling around 260. But now the price is selling as 380.
380.
You can see the difference.
Yeah.
So the trajectory, the sudden change can throw many farmers out of business. That's why the value chain, if we don't get the crop right, the soya, the maize, even groundnut, because time was we're using groundnut quick. When they extract the oil, it's also proteinous as well as having energy. The same applies to the soya. The soya is not only a source of protein, it has a lot of energy, especially our locally pressed ones, which still have oil in them. They have.
Okay. So with the grains, what about beans? Beans are also protein.
They have, but beans is very expensive.
Okay, beans, yeah, it's true.
And don't forget that the soya bean, we are not using the raw beans. We are using the waste, the leftover. The same apply to, we are using palm kernel cake. Palm kernel cake also have protein, up to about 18%. So when you are calculating your feed, you don't just, even though we are saying that maize is the source of energy, maize still have about 4%, up to, depending on the variety, up to about 10% of protein. So you have to calculate all those things. And the same way, soya bean also have energy, even though you have the primary source.
So in a situation where maize is a little bit of an issue, maize is mainly carbohydrates, right? So what about something like rice or the cassava gari?
So think about,
aren't there alternatives like that?
When you do that, you also think about the cost.
Yes, the cost.
Because if you are using one bag of rice,
so it means that the prices,
assuming that you are using,
are also higher.
Assuming that you are using Cindy rice.
No, locally produced rice. Hey, Cindy, you want to buy Cindy rice for power? Then what do human being eat? Okay, so in situations like this where procuring feed is a bit of an issue, have farmers been open to the idea of diversification, where maybe like you have the crop background, so maybe you decide to grow some soya beans for yourself to be using, so in growing the soya beans along with your poultry farm, you're making soya bean oil, and then you're also using the feed and then the droppings of the fowls for manure, something like that.
That should have been the ideal. But the poultry industry, the poultry operation alone itself is so tedious that when you don't want to multitask, do multitasking. Because the crop production itself is also a business on its own. It's not just about growing maize.
Yeah.
You see, the problem we have in this country is not just about that we don't have large tract of land, but it's what is the yield per hectare?
Growing for parts.
What are you getting? How many? So when you go to Europe, what is the standard yield per hectare? Assuming that the last time we went to this Millennium challenge people to the Kasunya, they were saying the rice, they're producing like 5 tons per hectare. So if you are producing 2 tons per hectare, you are losing already. You are not competitive. And then look at our soils. The soils are depleting.
Well, we have a few comments here. I think we even have some questions too. So this one says, do you support or oppose genetically modified organisms in farming? And this is from Ejari Kevin from Tamale. So yes, GMO.
I think we are capable of producing natural food for ourselves. So at the moment, I don't think we need any GMO stuff.
Okay. So
listen, the ingredients that we use, most of them are GMO anyway.
Oh.
The soya they import that we use in our this thing. What kind of is it naturally produced, or the maize that we import?
Okay.
You see.
So you as
no, but they are not GMO certified, so you can't say it's GMO. Because on their packaging, because from those imported ones, if they are GMO, they will indicate on it.
Okay.
Yeah, but then none of them indicates that it's GMO.
Okay.
If they are cheating us, then
I don't think he trusts the packaging.
Yeah, but then you can't
also make allegations like that. I understand. So okay, this is a comment. Clock TV is doing great. Kudos. Wow. No politics, Kra. I'm Kojo Kumsim from Takade. Thank you very much. So we also have another set of questions from Mr. Daniel AJ. He's asking that how do you stay informed about the policy issues affecting farming here in Ghana?
How do you stay informed? Well, it depends on the institution involved.
Okay.
If our institutions are working well, I think that the public relation directory should be giving out these things.
Okay.
In the past, for instance, if you want to know what Crop Research Institute is doing, every year they release the varieties they have come out with.
Okay.
And then they publish brochures, newsletters, and sometimes handouts. They even tell you this type of maize we have brought. this is the planting distance.
Okay.
These things come.
Okay.
So whatever policies influence, they are not doing policy, they are implementing policy. So if you want this, you go to the ministry that is in charge.
Okay.
And fortunately for us now, in the era of technology, you should be able to go to the website of any institution and find out what their policy. Go to a ministry, find out what go to government, what their policies are, and then how it's being implemented, which agency is implementing. These are easy to go by now.
So what about you? How do you also stay informed?
So for me as a farmer, I deal with the Ministry of Agri, especially with the Animal Production Department, and I have links there. So in the event of anything, I can.
Okay. So so Mr. Daniel J says he wants to also become a farmer. And he's asking again, do you participate in any agricultural advocacy groups or organizations?
For me, no.
Not okay. You see, that is where your group is also an agriculture advocacy group. Okay. So if you are in a farmer group, that's why you carry out your advocacy.
Okay. So, one more comment. This one says, hello, Cocoa Digest. You're doing so well. Congratulations. How do you think rural infrastructure such as roads and broadband impacts farming communities? I'm watching you live from Norway. This is from John Asante. Thank you very much for your comments and questions.
You was asking, how do you think
rural infrastructure impacts farming? Yes,
right. The farmers also they deserve all the nice things we see in the city. If they are there, people will not be minded. If they have good houses, they have good roads, they have good drinking water, health facility, they also access the internet, they know what is happening. It also improves their practices because they are seeing what others are doing.
So I think it is common knowledge now that our roads are one of the major reasons that agriculture in Ghana is not moving forward to an extent. Because I think I even saw a video quite recently, plantain, the car had just capsized, and it was attributed to the condition of the road. So in such a situation, aside yes, we need to build the infrastructure. What else can farmers do with regards to production? Yes, and even transporting the food?
No, you see, that's where sometimes we can look at something I would call appropriate technology. You see, many years ago, we were having this bullock. Okay. You know the bullock, the cows, two cows paired together, so that they could put a small cart behind them. Some of these animals can pass through places where these cars will get stuck. So they can help bring the thing a bit closer to the road. You see, it may take some time, but it is better than the car just getting falling, parking on this system, falling. And so we must be innovative in some of this. But actually, the construction of the road is a must. If we want to feed ourselves, and let's forget, we must not forget that food security is a national security issue.
Yes, that's true.
It's not just about gun and police and you know.
So again on the roads issue. So assuming our roads are in good condition. From Accra to I think Brong-Ahafo was about 8 hours.
Yeah, about 9 hours.
If I'm sure it's because of it's like that's because of some parts of the roads and even traffic. So let's say road conditions are good, traffic issues, our roads are expanded and everything. Maybe the time frame has reduced about 6 because it's still quite a distance. What can farmers do with regards to preservation of the food that something like the perishable goods like pepper, tomatoes that do not like a lot of heat could. So by the time maybe tomatoes from Brong-Ahafo reaches Accra, about half have already started getting soft and things like that. What can farmers do to preserve their food? What innovative ideas can they employ?
So you see, the farmer has a responsibility.
Okay.
He's supposed to farm, and along the value chain, there should be the aggregator who will go to the farmer. And so preservation has, under normal circumstances, have got nothing to do with the farmer, because the farming is tedious enough for the farmer to think about even marketing. But then here we are living in a country where the farmer, you have to take responsibility along the whole value chain, up to sometimes bringing your farm produce to the market and even having to sell it one by one. You see, so this and the technology and the equipment and stuff to preserve it, farmers don't have it. So that would be a very difficult thing. So it's all about the national structure being streamlined, so that there's a proper aggregation system whereby the farm is registered and all that, so we know that the harvest is coming this time. So arrangements are made for the goods to be picked up, taken to wherever it is supposed to be preserved or to be sold or whatever. Because bringing the farmer into the value chain, then it limits the farmer not to be able to do commercial farming.
But then, you know, in a situation where you are producing plantain, like the plantain man, all that has happened now, by the time he gets his affairs in order to transport the plantain back to where he was initially transporting it, maybe the person wanted unripe plantains, but by the time it gets there, it's all ripened. In a situation like that, does it not still lie on the farmer?
That's why it's difficult for farmers are going through this kind of hell, because at the end of the day, the stress of the farmer ends on the farm. But now it has to. So and this will come at a loss to the farmer, which discourages the person to then rather sell the land for people to use as galamsey. Because if I do plantain and can't go through all this wahala, then I just take one-off money, I build the house, and then find a buy and sell business to do, which then in the long run affects the whole country. So I think the Ministry of Agriculture has a responsibility to streamline the whole system. I've always said that Ghana as a country, we need to take one day to stop our nonsense and in quotes, and then start all over again. So that most of, and these are things that people are doing it right elsewhere, that we can just copy and paste and then do some small changes to suit our local thing. But then we are just sitting down there wasting time and talking too much. At the end of the day, nothing is being done.
So just like I was even asking about the diversification, I think I can link the diversification and then the various processes, production to marketing. Wouldn't that be an avenue for creating jobs? So like as you are producing the birds and then you decide to produce soya oil too, because of how tedious it is, would it not be prudent to employ people who would manage that, while you also employ people who do the transporting, the killing, the plucking, all the processes that are involved in the bird production?
Like for us, how we started with only production. And we started raising broilers, 500 broilers, especially for on occasions. And could you believe that we couldn't sell 500 broilers even during Christmas, and our broilers were laying during the previous year, where broilers are not supposed to lay. Then we thought about finding our own market. We found our own market, and they wanted us to dress for them. So we had to set up a processing facility to be able to process and deliver. So now, what in our capacity now, we bring at least 5,000 birds every 3 days from Doma. And we have to. If I wouldn't have invested in the transport system if there's a ready transporter who transport the birds. But now I have to transport my own birds from Doma, bring them, go through the process of processing them, and then deliver to the supermarkets and the household that I supply to, which is so difficult and hard work for me to do. Probably if I concentrated on only producing broilers, I'll be producing, let's say, 100, 200,000 birds a month. But because I have to take charge of the whole value chain, I would then have to be doing, let's say, 30,000 a month. You get my point? So if I was only into production, then I'll concentrate and produce more. Then whoever is into the transportation of the birds. But here's a situation whereby you can produce, if you leave even one of the areas of the value chain to someone else whose incompetence come to play and disappoints you along the value chain, then you also disappoint your final consumer, and then within a short time the channel breaks. So it becomes difficult when you have to diversify and let someone take charge of something, because sometimes the inefficiency of the person will come back and haunt you. Meanwhile, probably you have a contract with the person, you've paid the person money, and then you use the money for another thing, then he comes and tells you stories. Then now you have to tell your final consumer story, which 1, 2, 3, then you lose that market. So you have to take charge of the whole value chain.
But you see, I'm not sure that we must always take charge of the whole value chain. I operate around the Monkatamanso area. The farmers there, they don't prepare their feed. You either buy the feed from the feed manufacturing companies, or all that they do is to come and order the ingredients, and there are people who produce the feed. Maybe you need to be there to supervise. You see, with what he is saying now, what is the lot of us? If Touch Food, God forbid, today, for any reason, he could not produce, he cannot do the work he's doing, or even the worst case scenario, he passes on, the business will just collapse. And that is the lot of Ghana. Once the person leaves, then there is no continuity. And I think we have to get to a stage where we must be able to leave this, because if we want to be jack of all trades, it's going to be a problem for us.
So would you suggest something of like training, as you've both probably been in business for some time, so maybe before you employ, or because I know some farmers who do some sort of training training sessions where I know if a fish farmer who would organize the training as to how to start up your own fish farm business and something like that. So with the poultry too, wouldn't it be good to set up a training for people so that if they are also interested in getting employed, after learning everything they've learned, then maybe you start to work together one way or another?
Well, I hear the government has a facility now where you can gather people to train them. Government pays you.
Yes.
But you see, it's one thing training somebody. I don't know if what you are doing is what you trained for, or you were into something else and then you just love TV. And then you came in. So you can see somebody trained as a doctor and is a musician. So there are people come to you for job, not so much because they like the job. Yeah, they just want to sustenance. Yes. And once they get to their groove, they will leave. That's the thing. You need to get the person who has the mind to do that. And most of the time, it's not just about training book and pen. No, it's hands-on.
Yeah, the hands-on.
Yes, the hands-on is the thing. But the hands-on alone is not enough. The mental attitude to the job must be there. Okay. You will be doing it. If you say you should take shovel to change litter, you will do so. But it's his heart in the business. You say whatever you want to do, you do it even if you are not paid for. If it is something you really love to do, you are called to do, you can do it pro bono. You get it. So the training is good, that you train people, but you can have a very brilliant accountant. Is he honest? Okay. The moral question also comes in.
Yeah, and with the training, I would like to take the opportunity to commend MasterCard Foundation. Okay. They've really come up with some initiatives where some big farmers are being asked to employ some youth, especially young women, train them, and after they've properly been trained, they are set up. So they will provide the coop and some beds for them, so that they also start their production cycle, and it's going very well.
Okay,
but these things, that they are doing is good. But they should look at the people they are training. Because the poultry industry, you need the person who has a heart to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you give them the money, you do it. 2 days, when there's a challenge, then he leaves the business.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you so much. We have one more question here, but my producers will have my head. So, okay, so in answering this question, then we take your closing remarks. So this one is saying, this is from James Tego from Spintex. He's asking, what policy changes would you like to see to benefit farmers? Then when you answer, then you add your closing remarks so that we wrap up quickly.
Well, policy changes that targets the farmer, and which is realistic, which have the farmer in mind. I mean, policies that emanates from the farmer, not top down.
Okay.
You go and listen to the people, and then know exactly what they are going through. Because we have not exhausted all our topics, but of course we are finished.
The time.
Because we are talking about labor. Labor is a problem in poultry industry now. We don't have we're getting people now because of this girl I'm saying and this Okada business. Now it's difficult to get people to work for, and we're supposed to be investing in technology, but that one too, people are frowning on the use of cages to raise the birds. Okay, and so let's look at what policies that will help us to push our this thing forward. Because we have had policies all this while, but we are where we are. Why are we where we are? Is it because the policies are not being implemented right, or people just draft the policy with no intention of actually implementing them? Ghana in this country will have good policies for everything, except when it comes to implementation.
Yeah. Okay. So, what are also your closing remarks to farmers and potential farmers out there?
Well, I just want to repeat my congratulations to them on Farmers' Day, and my prayer is that we'll have government that will take their interests at heart, not just with words, but by action.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And I think he's exhausted the policy issue. So I will also congratulate all farmers and then tell Ghanaians that we have the best chicken in this country, and therefore if you want chicken, you just contact us, Jory's Farms.
Okay, so we have Mr. Joseph Boakye.
Tell your accountant to give him an invoice.
So we have Mr. Joseph Boakye Yadom from Jory's Farms, and then Mr. Lawrence Agoso from AgriVision Farms as well. So yes, feel free to contact them. As Christmas is coming, you can buy the chicken from them. And don't forget, come buy me some. So this brings us to the end of the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. It was a pleasure having you here, and we hope to have you back very soon to continue the conversation. And a big thank you to you, our viewers, for staying with us from 6:30 a.m. all the way till now. A big thank you to our production team, our management, everybody that joined hands to make this show a success. We are most grateful. And as you go through your day, don't forget to spread positivity, keep a beautiful smile on your face, and of course, show somebody some love today. Do have an amazing week ahead.
Clog TV. Beyond the Policy.